So yeah, we talking about dating in 2020, but before we start to talk about dating in 2020, I want to talk just a little bit about breakups and divorces, that type of thing, breaking up. Whatever the situation is of the breakup, you know that a lot of times for some people it is so hard to come out of a breakup. It really, really changes their entire life. It's very, very hard, especially if you didn't want to break up with the person, especially if you had set this person in your plans in your life for your entire life to be your life partner forever. So you totally go through a lot of things. Now, I got some people that that go through breakups with people and they be okay. A lot of those times it be a mutual decision when the people both agreed to break up. Sometimes it's a little bit less of an impact on a couple like that. And then you have some people like, I've left him. I don't care. I'm over it. It's still some type of healing that's needed, but a lot of times it's not a great impact. But for those of you who went through a serious breakup and you had to depart, separate, divide from the person that you truly, truly thought you loved and truly, truly wanted to be with, that can definitely cause a shock. So a lot of times when we dealing with breakup, we have to get through the shock. The shock is something else. You may see some signs of breaking up. You might see some alert signs. You might knew of some issues that was going on, whether it's financially, cheating, whatever the issue may be, or just falling out of love. But you still seem to go through some type of shock once you realize that we are breaking up. And that shock can affect you in so many ways. It can affect you mentally, your rest, your peace, your sleep. It can affect you financially if you have to divide or if you have to move away or they have to move. So it's a big shock that you have to deal with. And a lot of people do a lot of crazy things and things they would normally do when they are in shock. So be careful of that when you're dealing with breakup. A lot of times it's just best to try to sit down. It's best to try to just sit in one spot so you can just be able to get back into the presence of life, because sometimes you will numb out and you'll go through a shock when you break up sometimes, and a lot of things you do without having a sound mind. So that's just something to be careful for. I know a lot of people that went through that. But the shock is real. Yeah, you really thinking that you're going to be with this person forever, to find out now you got to reroute, rechange, reconstruct, rebuild. You got to change your whole life now because you're no longer with that person. And I'm sure that that person was accounted for in a lot of different ways. So shock is the number one thing that a lot of people find out that they go through when they're dealing with a breakup. I can't believe this happened. And then a lot of times your family and friends is saying that exact same line. I can't believe y'all broke up. I can't believe you left him. I can't believe he left you. Y'all seem so happy. So now you're dealing with that. So it's very overwhelming. And a lot of times I think you need a person by your side when you're dealing with a serious impact of a breakup or divorce. So that's one thing I want you to keep in your hearts and look out for. See if there's a shock. See if your eyes are blinking. See if you are thinking. See if things is just repetitive thoughts or you actually flowing from one thought to the other. You have to actually touch your heart sometimes just to make sure it's still beating. Whatever the case is, especially when you're family. You have children and it's just too much. So be careful about that shock. The next thing that you have to think about, and this is no type of order, everybody's different, and some people don't even go through some of this, but acceptance. Acceptance is another thing to look into after breakup. Accepting what has happened. And many times a lot of people don't get a chance to accept it because that shock is lasting for a long time. You're just thinking like in your bed that one day you're going to wake up and things be totally different. You ever went through something so serious and dramatic and you actually go to sleep and wake up and you just hope that yesterday wasn't real? You hope that your life is not what you think it is, to keep waking up and finding out that it is. And you have to accept it. You have to accept that this person is no longer the person he used to be in your life. It's a whole new form. You don't have the responsibilities and accountabilities of the partner anymore. Queen said, yes, acceptance is the key. Yeah, it's the key, and it's the biggest key too. That's how you unlock some doors for healing. And that's how you get to the next place or the next stage of the breakup. Because I even know some women who have a hard time dealing with the acceptance, to a point where they will actually be calling the partner, checking on the partner, not even like trying to be sexual with them or anything like that, but this was their mate, their everyday mate. And they will find themselves texting that partner like, what you doing? Is you okay? Did you eat? Did you take your medicine? Did you forget? Did you get your meal? Acceptance is really, really hard. So when you're going through that and you have issues with acceptance, on this division, on this separation, on this person that you don't even have a say so or an opinion in their life anymore, you have to take that moment and look at it that it's in a new form. You have to actually talk to yourself and say to yourself, I no longer have those responsibilities anymore. I don't have those duties anymore. This person does not want me to play that part in their life. Can you hear the stuff that I'm saying right now? This stuff is heart crushing. To be able to train yourself to not be in unity with somebody you care about or thought that you loved. Acceptance is definitely the key, and it's definitely a spiritual whooping in the process too. So yeah, you'll find yourself dealing with these issues of acceptance, knowing that you no longer play a part in their life, in their future, where they live, where they go, if they move, I don't know, move out of state, don't move out of state, they want to date, they don't want to date. Whatever the case is, whatever the part that you used to play, you have to go through a process of understanding that it's a new form. So another thing I want to talk about with the breakup is forgiveness. That's the hard one. You sometimes can say, I forgive you, and it's just enough so you don't kill them. It's just enough so you don't hit them, so you don't abuse them, so you don't lose control of yourself. Forgiveness comes in layers and layers and layers and levels and levels and levels. Every time you get angry, every time you feel abandoned, every time you feel attacked and you felt like you was treated unfairly, you got to forgive again. So you can actually say you forgive. You can live like you forgive and don't see yourself physically doing anything towards the person. But then it's forgiveness in the mind, forgiveness in the heart, forgiveness of the expectation. It is so many layers of forgiveness. So that'll be something that you'll be dealing with for a while. These are things I'm just bringing up for your awareness. And I also want you to know that there's no time limit on these things. It is a journey to get back to you again, from being yoked with someone, being in unity with someone, your partner, your everything, and then you have to break away. It's going to take you some time, especially if you was heavily impacted. And this is not talking about co-parent. This is just the two individuals. You do have to learn how to forgive, and it is a process. And every time you feel that anger rise up, you feel that entitlement come up, you feel like they should have did this, they could have did this, at least they could have did this. As long as I put time in them, as long as I spent with them, I should be treated better. You got to forgive again. And that's what you got to start saying. So every time you feel those things stirring up inside of you, just say, I forgive you again. It's a process. Forgiveness is probably the hardest. It's the hardest. Yeah, it is. I don't even know which one at this point, because when I talked about acceptance, that felt like the hardest. But you're right. Forgiveness is the hardest, because I have to excuse you. I got to excuse you for what you did to me. I got to give you a pardon. That's what forgiveness means. I got to let you slide. I do. God don't. But I got to let you slide without any repercussions, without any punishment, without any vengeance. I got to excuse you without punishing you, without making you have a consequence, but allowing you to receive the consequence. Forgiveness is another level, especially if you believe that the forgiveness is for you. Because it takes you a moment to take your eye off your opponent, to take your eye off the enemy, to take your eye off the person that abandoned you, the person that just threw you out to the wolves, the person that exit you out of their life. It's hard to look at them, and it's hard to choose you sometimes over your anger towards them. Actually, one day I was talking to this lady I was counseling. Oh my gosh, she's so sweet. And she was saying something to the point of, I hated him more than I love myself. I was like, dang. I felt that in my spirit when she said that. I hated him more than I love myself. That's a moment, because that's what's happening when we're not forgiving. So, no matter what the situation is, no matter whatever you're trying to forgive, I'm talking about the worst thing you're trying to forgive, you have to forgive again every time it stirs up. So, the next thing that you deal with sometimes in breakup is understanding. I have to understand that you no longer want to be here. That's a hard pill to swallow too. It's to have that empathy and understanding that we all got a will and a choice, that you should be where you want to be, and you should be where you are the most happiest, and you should be where there's peace. And if you don't want to be here, then the other person should be okay with you leaving. Understanding that this person had to make a choice that was best for them. That's deep. That's deep. And that takes a lot of maturity. I don't know what order this go in. But to understand that that person had to leave me. That person had to stop. They had to stop living with me, stop believing in me, stop loving me, stop having sex with me. They had to stop with me, stop their life with me, so they can have a better life for themselves. That's a very mature person. It takes a lot to get that understanding on why the person just don't want to be there. They just can't. It's just not for them anymore. Releasing a person. Releasing a person is another challenging thing too. I think that sometimes that's like the last pit of your stomach. It's usually the moment when you like take the pictures and throw them away or put them away. That's usually the releasing moment when you're not even realizing, man, I don't think I talked to him or saw him in like 2 months. Moments like that when you're releasing. When you're releasing, you're living. So it kind of goes hand in hand. As you release, you live. And you don't have that alert thing in you all the time, and that impulse in you all the time about them. It just gets to a point like, you know what? You don't bring his name up because I haven't thought about it. I actually went a week without thinking about him. I actually went 2 months without seeing him. You just be like, wow, I'm releasing. Because you're living. That's how you'll know you're releasing. Learning and healing. This is the major step that takes us into dating. This is what takes us into dating, is learning and healing. I tell you the truth. You'll be so surprised as I talk to my clients and we start this process and dealing with post breakups, divorces, separation, or just dealing with family issues. They always have a hard time understanding that it's something you needed to learn so that you can heal even more, and then you can be prepared for the next connection. A lot of people do not understand you need to learn something off your ex. It's very important. Something you need to learn. You need to learn who you was when you were with them. You were someone different. You need to see who that person was. And if you got to separate yourself to do it, then you have to do that. But you need to look back and find out, who was I in that relationship? What did I give? What did I sacrifice? What did I allow? Did I speak up? I didn't speak up. You have to find out what it is. I know a lot of people talk about twin flames and being in these really, really thick codependency, attachment, like addiction type relationships. And they sometimes believe that they cannot let this person go, but you actually can. But you can't be lazy about it. You really have to want to find out what the thing is. So, every person that you with, every ex that you can think about, there was something that this person did to you, for you. It was some type of part that they played in your life. And that's the part that you kept seeking from them. Whatever that crack is, whatever that emotional attachment was, whatever that partner did, and whatever that asset was that you feel that that partner had in your life that you don't want to live without, then that's that thing that you have to learn how to do for yourself. A lot of times I talk to women and they usually say, he was there for me. He was there for me. He talked to me. When I went through problems, he talked to me. I don't know. When I needed something, he protected me. Find out who that ex was. Find out what they did for you. Find out what they brought to your life. Find out what you were so attached to and so connected to. Find out what the thing is that you really need to get yourself. And you would definitely be able to heal even more. You said heal before moving on. I have to do it so you can have a healthy relationship later. Oh yeah, it's very important. We carry those bags over and over and over and over again. We constantly keep carrying it over because it's a bunch of unhealed stuff. And no matter how many times you switch the face and the body, it's the same energy. It's the same spirit. It's just going to stay right there. It's not going nowhere. I promise you, it's not going nowhere. I even know about a time when a woman got into a new relationship and she couldn't connect to the new person that he was, that she actually began to train him to be like her ex. We are something else if you let us be something else. So yeah, learning and healing. Learn who you were in that relationship and learn what that partner gave you that you feel that you needed and that you feel that you can't live without. And that's the thing you're going to start to give to yourself. And once you learn how to do it and be satisfied, because I even have people that they in homework right now doing that, but they'll tell me that I don't feel nothing. I took myself on a date, but I don't feel nothing. It's really a process of loving yourself and falling in love with yourself. You start to date yourself again. Okay, so let's get into the dating part and then I'm out of here. All right. So we know all the background about the breakups. We know where we coming from. I know, I think one of the queens had put on a post, make sure you heal before you go out there. You would never be completely healed before you go out there. I promise you. You weren't even healed when you got here. So you weren't even born healed. You was born into iniquity. Remember? We were born into sin. We was born into this dark place. We just trying to find a light and get up out of here. So you're never going to be completely healed when you go to find this new relationship. So let that go. You're not going to be completely healed. A lot of times, your last little bit of healing, your last little amount, your last portion of healing, it usually happens through the connection of someone else. It doesn't have to be a partner. It could be a family, a friend. It can be a soulmate in any form. But a lot of times, the last little bit of healing before your new day, your new self, is usually from a connection of a new person. You may be very surprised. The Bible always talk about love your neighbor and we need each other to survive type thing. But there is people who are like-minded. You do have a tribe of people here, people that you can come across that really will help you heal. It is very, very true. So you're not going to be completely healed. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to have the normal fears and you're going to have the normal anxiety. Sometimes people talk about anxiety like it's just a curse. It's not. It's a normal level of anxiety that you should have if you're going to a place that you've never been before. And then you speak those meditation and affirmations and prayer. You ask Jesus to give you strength. And then you go into new places. We got to experience these emotions so we can always be in a place of need and humbleness. So don't be thinking like anxiety is like so bad. No, a touch of it, a small amount, yes, it's good because you're alive. You're still a human. Other than that, you're going to be a robot. So we have to learn how to be okay with emotions, but make sure we don't stay in the dark ones too long. And make sure we are transitioning over to the next emotion in a good timing according to ourselves. That's another story right there. So that's one thing I want to get out the way. You're not going to be completely healed, but you should be better. You should be better, and you should be going out there to share yourself. Share your inner self and your outer self. You shouldn't be going out there to get nothing. And I think that's the biggest issue when it comes to women, because a lot of times we going out there to get something because we know what we don't want. We so sure about what we don't want. And we find ourselves going out there to get something. But when you go out there to get something, you might end up with another ex because you're supposed to have everything you need. My own daughter told me, become the husband you want to be. Whew, I'm tired. Become the husband you want to be. So we're not going out there to get stuff no more. We got everything we need. Everything we need, we have. It's inside of us. You actually don't need nobody for nothing. But because those are not taught, those don't have that knowledge and wisdom, those who are not filled with the Holy Ghost or the Holy Spirit or the power, those who are disconnected need that bridge. They need that counselor. They need that advisor. They need that pastor. They need that light worker. They need that because some of these people are not woke and they don't understand how to get to a better place. But I can tell you right now that we got to stop leaving the house trying to go out there and get somebody and get something, because you're going to end up finding something else. We need to go out there willing to share ourselves with someone that we are comfortable with. So that's one thing. Now let's talk about this dating and this sex. Then I'll be done. Don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself. Don't be sitting up here in the house talking about you want to date, but then when you get outside, you really want to have sex. You got to be serious with yourself, because dating ain't got nothing to do with sex. Be honest with yourself about what you really want before you start going out there. Because if you happen to go out there and you still going through shock, and you're still going through acceptance, you're still going through forgiveness, understanding, learning, healing, releasing, then you're going to get out there and probably have a hard time getting back home. So be honest with yourself. Do you really want to date and get to know somebody and build a rapport with somebody, find out who they really is, find out how they act in the good times and the bad times, get to know their whole generation and family, and find out who they are and medically? Or is the truth is you really want to have sex because your girl said, girl, go get it. He did you wrong. Go turn up. Put on your freaking dress. All the stuff that we say. Be careful of the people that's talking around you, because they don't know what they do. They just want you to make you feel better. They want you to be happy too. So you got to be careful of that. So you got to tell yourself the truth. I said in the very beginning, dating in 2020, I don't know. The rules could be a little bit different for some, but the game is still the same. It's those out here that just want to have sex. Those out here want to have sex again. Those out here that want to get married. And some of them don't even want you, period. They want somebody else. So it's all the same out here. It's just different ways going about it. But you really need to be honest with yourself. So I encourage you women to stop saying you want to date when you really want to have sex. Be honest with yourself. Because if you want to have sex, that's exactly what you're going to find. You're going to find sex. No doubt about it. And it's just that simple. And then when you begin to have an expectation that, and this entitlement that I deserve this. I was cheated on, I was betrayed, I was hurt, I'm alone, and they kicking it, and they having fun, and they living their life, and you know, we be living our lives through other people, and so we'll get that entitlement, and we'll tell ourselves that we deserve to go get everything that's out there for us, and we'll go get it. So if you're serious about dating, then I'm guessing that you're going to find someone who wants to date too. And a lot of times I ask this question to the women. Did they really want to date? Did they really want a relationship? Did I really talk about relationship? No. He said he didn't want a relationship. But you made a fool out of yourself in the very beginning. And then you're expecting it to turn into something else. Sometimes it do. But you can't expect that. When people tell you something, believe what they say because they mean it. They're serious. And a lot of times I think we as women lie just to get the pleasure. The man be saying, oh, I ain't on a relationship right now. I'm trying to get myself together. When you first meet them, that's exactly what they be saying. I'm trying to get myself together. I just dealt with my baby mama. I ain't ready for no relationship. What the first thing a woman say who desperate and who need to be touched? I don't want no relationship either. And then she really do, like 3 or 6 months later. So the main thing is to be honest about who you are and be honest about what you truly, truly desire before you go out there. And it's nowhere in the world you're going to be able to have a dating relationship with somebody who's not available. If they're not available, you're not in a relationship and you can't have one. And if they say they're not ready for a relationship, then you can't make no plans. So you make sure you know what you're doing when you're out there. because there's a lot of women out here that claim that they really want to be in love and they really want to find this person. And if y'all got any questions or comments, y'all can put that down now, because I'm pretty much done. And then they get out there and they end up finding a boogeyman. You be finding a whole boogeyman.